What is rehab or rehabilitation? My name is Fred Begaris, a board-certified sports and spine medicine physician in Virginia Beach, Virginia. After 10 years of practice, I still find musculoskeletal medicine both fascinating and challenging. This podcast is about the lingering thoughts and questions I've had after residency and fellowship. My hope is to spark discussion, challenge dogma, and share my experiences in musculoskeletal medicine. Welcome to the Talking Rehab podcast. I recently came across a clip of That 70s Show TV. I recently came across this video clip of That 70s Show Fez, played by Wilmer Valderrama, talking about a teacher, Mr. Tucker, who is a very influential person in his life, where there was a pivotal moment in his budding acting career, and Mr. Tucker was, I guess, his quote-unquote person that really advocated for him. This person, essentially gave him some support and saw something in him early on in his career and encouraged him to pursue things on his own. And as a business owner and a physician and patient advocate, this video really kind of got to me. It was a really very touching moment in this clip. I'm sure you can find it on Instagram. Maybe I'll include it in the notes. You can see how emotional that Wilmer got once he actually talked about it, and surprisingly, they were able to get the teacher, Mr. Tucker, to send him a message. And it was really quite powerful. And as a physician, I kind of reflect on my whole career, where I actually wanted to go to medical school at a young age. And I've always had parents that supported me, but it was kind of a different type of support. But in terms of someone who really took me under their wing and really pushed me, I actually have encountered the opposite in my life. When I was in college, my counselor basically said, you're not a competitive applicant, and really gave me no path forward, and essentially just said, statistically, you were unlikely to go to medical school, but didn't really give me anything past that. And I kind of took it on the chin, didn't have much to say about it, because at that point I had already committed in my mind to do it. So it never really stopped me. Fast forward into my career, when I graduated and started my job search looking for employment, I really kind of was looking for someone in particular to see how special, how talented I was as a clinician. Fast forward to me starting my post-clinical career, or looking past the traditional clinic. I started a orthopedic telemedicine practice, and this was well before COVID. And I started an LLC. I got a tax ID, I did everything, and I started talking to people about it. And essentially everybody really kind of just shot down my idea. I cannot tell you how much people really just crapped all over my idea. I even had one surgeon, very, honestly, it was not really a kind of a negative interaction. It was actually a very honest conversation, where they basically just said, "Do you really think that this is going to work?" And it was really out of concern. I could tell in their voice that they weren't just trying to, kind of poo-poo my idea. And I just kind of, again, just took it on the chin. And, finally, in my venture into a non-insurance based practice, no one really told me to, what, you're ready, you can do it. If anything, I had a lot of people more concerned and, not necessarily discouraging me, but I definitely had a lot of people bring up all these thoughts of, What if you're not busy? There's no way you can do it. You have to take some insurance. What about this? What about that? And it was a really it wasn't exactly what I wanted to hear. It might have been something that I needed to hear, but it never really motivated me. And here I am, approaching 1 year into my own practice. Long story short, what I took away from all this, and again, this Instagram video really just brought it to the surface, is that you have to be your own person. In this particular video, Mr. Tucker was the person for Wilmer. He was the one that saw his potential. He was the one probably that motivated him when he was doubting himself. And I think that's amazing. I think that's really a testament to really teachers in general. I think they are honestly one of the unsung heroes in our society and maybe in all cultures. But I think that that's really very special. But in reality, not everyone has that. I fortunately had parents that were supportive, but in terms of starting my own business, I got a lot of concern feedback versus you can do it feedback. And ultimately, how I knew I was ready was me. So, again, I, I I think sometimes we have to be our own personal advocates. We have to be our person. And I think about all the years that I looked for someone to believe in me and to take me under their wing. And not to say that that was wasted effort, but in the end, I wonder if I really needed it. I rather than spending time hoping someone, see the potential in me, my time probably would have been better spent trying to see if I could, essentially see the potential in myself. Because ultimately, I think that's what matters the most. When it comes to even on, and again, it's kind of a stretch, but I think about this into patient care. A lot of the people I see in my day to day practice are patients that have been brushed aside, marginalized, being told that they're crazy. And I think you do have to advocate for yourself. Say, I know what I'm experiencing. I'm going to keep going. And I think that that's just kind of the way that it is. I mean, in this analogy, I think you do actually have to have somebody to help you. But I guess what I want you to take away is that you sometimes have to be your own advocate to keep going. I think that looking for someone to always help you when you're down, I think is great when if it's there, but what if it's not? And for a lot of time, sometimes that help never comes, or sometimes you're so down on yourself as a business owner, as a clinician, that you can't see the help. Then now what? I just wanted to share this one particular podcast episode, share my thoughts on this, because ultimately you have to be your own person, I would say, all the time. If you have someone that is supportive, is that person for you, is your advocate, is someone looking out for you, I think that's amazing. But as a young business owner, young entrepreneur, I think that you have to be that person, otherwise it's going to be rough days. And believe me, I have podcasts on those rough days. I think it's important to highlight that you listen to some of these podcasts and everybody's successful, everybody's busy all the time, but day to day wise, that is not the case, I guarantee you. So I have trained myself to pick myself up, really be my own person. And then I get to the next day and things will generally be better. But, I don't want to, end this on a downer, but so I'm going to focus on the fact that I am a year into a practice that everybody said was not really possible. I hope that this episode resonates with that one person that really needs to hear it. All I can say is that I am that person that believed in my practice. And when everyone said that this practice couldn't happen, here I am doing it 1 year later. So it is possible. And if I listen to everybody else as opposed to listen to myself, who knows where I might have been. I can almost guarantee you that I wouldn't be as happy as I am now if I had listened to everybody else. So to wrap up, if you have that person in your life that is truly on your team and advocate for your success, be grateful. Make sure to thank them every day for what they are doing for you. Even if you don't have that person, please know that you have to be that person no matter what. Thanks again for listening, guys. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Talking Rehab podcast. I hope that this podcast stimulates you to question your own practice and how you approach rehabilitation. I truly appreciate your time and attention. If you enjoyed listening, make sure to like and subscribe to the podcast. I wish you a movement-filled day. Take care.